To do or not what to do on a Caribbean vacation? That is the question that we will discuss today on this episode of our award-winning podcast, Smart People Travel Wise. I'm your host, Tennie Sumague, coming to you from New York, concrete jungle where dreams are made of, because if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. It's the third week of May, and we are counting the days where students will finish their state exams, finals, and looking forward to their summer vacation. It is also almost my favorite time of the year. Yes, summer, because I'm looking just forward to relaxing and dreaming of where I should travel next. So I'd like to introduce our guest host for today. She is a beautiful speech pathologist by day and a travel advisor by night, afternoon, or any time of the day when she's not working on people's speech impediments. She hails from Orlando, Florida, but she was born in Montreal, Canada. Please smash those heart buttons as we welcome Miss Jessica Benjamin. Hello, Jessica.
Hey, Tennie, how are you?
Oh, I am fine. And I like to tell our viewers, me and Jessica, we have a mutual friend. And that mutual friend is the one that actually told you to become a travel advisor.
Yeah,
So Jessica, tell us who our special mutual friend is, and let's give her and her family a shout out before we
I have to give a big shout out to my amazing coworker. Her name is Melissa Potes, and we work together on a daily basis. And I think she's seen how much I've loved traveling over the years, and she really just made the connection for me to contact Alvin, and I'm just so grateful. So I'm giving you a big shout out, Melissa. I love you. Can't wait to see you on Monday, and thank you so much for the push.
Okay. And thank you, Melissa, for, we're always talking, me and Melissa, chatting about, life and whatnot. And she and her husband, Rob, and her 3 beautiful kids are lucky to have not one, but 2 travel advisors, maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe 5, to help them tailor any family vacation they want. So the Potes family, you know where to reach us. So whatever you want, if you want a Caribbean vacation, or you want a European vacation, or if you want a vacation, let's say wherever in international, domestic, you know where to find us.
Yes,
enough about the Potes family, because it's all about you and our topic today. So Jessica, tell us more about yourself and how you got into travel.
So, like you said, I am a speech pathologist by day and I guess a travel advisor by night. I got into traveling. I've always enjoyed traveling as a kid, but we only went to certain destinations. So I was born and raised in Canada, and we would travel maybe to the US. That's the only place I really went. So we went to New York, Boston, California, and then we migrated to Florida. But as I grew up, I think what happened is that we moved so many times because we had a house here in Florida, and then we just kept going back and forth. I kind of got used to getting on a plane and doing those kind of things as a kid. So what really happened is a couple of years ago, my sister was in Canada, and we needed to find a way for us to be able to see each other more often. So we had to start finding destinations that were maybe a direct flight or not too bad from Canada, and for me to travel there too. And then from there, it's kind of like I got the travel bug. I wanted to go everywhere. Where can I go next is what it's been like. And ever since then, I've been traveling at least, I would say maybe 3 to 4 times a year, and I absolutely love it. So that's pretty much it.
And you were born in Montreal. C'est la vie. Ooh la la. Je m'appelle. Tennie, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. I don't know the rest of my numbers. I did speak French in elementary school and a little bit in college because I was a vocal major. But how long did you live in Canada in Montreal, before you moved to Orlando?
So I was born and raised there. We moved here when I was 7 years old. I didn't know a lick of English. English is actually my 3rd language. And then my grandmother passed away when I was 10, and then we moved back to Canada So I've been doing a little bit back and forth, but I came back here when I was 14 and I did high school here. And then ever since then, I've been here. So not trying to date myself, but I've been here a while.
And because French is your first language,
Yes.
do you mind romancing our viewers with a little bit of Francais? Por favor. I mean, por favor is not French, but please.
S'il vous plaît. What you would say. What can I say? Bonjour, mes amis. Je m'appelle Jessica et j'adore voyager dans les îles des Caraïbes.
Ooh.
And that pretty much means, hi, friends. My name is Jessica, and I love to travel around the Caribbean islands.
Oh, ooh la la, c'est la vie. That gave me chills. You make me want to go to the Caribbean.
Oh, yes.
But you are a native of your family's from Haiti. And
Yes.
I'm going to tell you, my mom, for 40 years, she worked as a nurse, 18 years in Brooklyn, where there's a huge Haitian population.
Yes.
And, in Filipino, or I should say Tagalog, when my mom, when people call you, they call you dear or honey or whatever it is, a pet name. In Tagalog, they would say anak, but my mom doesn't call me that. Instead, because one of her best friends is Haitian, she would call me boo boo. Hey boo, boo, boo.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't have a boo boo. I'm not sure boo boo, but I know that's Creole. It's a term of endearment. I'm wondering, and is Creole yours also? Is that language?
I learned that simultaneously with French. So.
Okay. And then do you call your kids boo boo?
Nope. I don't call them boo boo, but I have nicknames for them. But it is something, it really means like my love, you know what I mean? So yeah, it is a pet name that I hear very often. I got called that before. So yes.
Yeah, and that's why I say sometimes that because my mom has she worked in Brooklyn, and that there's a big Caribbean population there.
Yes.
That sometimes I think she's more Caribbean than Filipino.
Oh, well, there are a lot of similarities, so
yes.
I can imagine.
There's a lot of similarities of family, even food. They're big on rice.
Yes.
And then just the work ethic too.
Yes.
The
Exactly.
Caribbeans and the Filipinos were very hardworking people. We always do whatever it's best for our families.
Exactly. Also with education too. It's really big. So
I agree too, because I also have worked with a lot of Haitian and also teachers of Caribbean descent, and they're very, I would say they're lovely people. I get along with them so well. I can't think of one Caribbean person that I don't get along with.
That's good. That's good.
Well, I want to know a little bit more about even your Haitian culture or even the Caribbean culture itself. What's some fascinating facts about the Haitian culture or the Caribbean culture in general?
So, well, it's kind of interesting that we're having this conversation in May, because May is actually Haitian Heritage Month. So that's pretty cool. May 18th is actually Haitian Flag Day, where we celebrate. Her name is Catherine Flon. She's the one who made the flag. One thing I can tell you about Haiti is that they are the first independent Black nation. We got our independence since 1804 from the French. We speak Haitian Creole, but the main language in Haiti is French. It's kind of like Haitian Creole is kind of like the language of the land, but it's not what's taught in school. Let's say, you would learn to speak French, or that's the proper language. We are people that are very resilient. We had an earthquake that happened January 12, 2010. That was earth shattering, was the biggest earthquake, the biggest earthquake that has hit the country. A lot of people passed, and it was really devastating. We still remember it every year. And I can just say that the Haitian people are very resilient. The motto is l'union fait la force, which means that the union is unity, or helps unity. And I think that that's something that we've tried to do as best as we can, is to come together for a better future for not ourselves, but the future generations.
And I remember when that earthquake hit, a lot of the artists, musicians came together.
Yes, they
Um,
did.
give a shout out to Wyclef Jean, the Fugees.
Yes.
I grew up, I love the Fugees. I
Me
believe
too.
that's one of my favorite albums of all time to live in. Ready or not, here I
Yes.
come.
Can't hide.
And speaking of music, because I know Haiti is one of many islands that are part of the Caribbean, but as I mentioned earlier, I've worked with a lot of Caribbeans, but I've never been to the Caribbean myself. And I know I'm missing out. I've been to Europe, Asia, Australia, certain almost
You just
20.
like keep flying over us.
I know.
It's right here,
And it's like close by, and I'm exposed to so many Caribbean people. I've as a music teacher, I've taught Caribbean music,
Nice.
ska, reggae, calypso, bachata, song, you name it. I've taught it. I dance to it sometimes. And I love Caribbean food. I love me some jerk chicken and Haitian patties. But let's talk about the Caribbean. What do you love about the Caribbean islands, and what do you suggest that first-time travelers like me do there?
So every island is different, but what makes the island are the people. What I love about each Caribbean island is really learning their culture, because they're so proud of what makes them who they are. So for me, like every time I go on a vacation, the first day that we get there, we usually do a historical tour, because the history will make you be able to understand why they are the way that they are. I love feeling like I'm at home, because they're so welcoming everywhere that we go. And I love that there's just nice water and so many beachy activities that you can do, and just great food that you can try anywhere. I don't think that there's one place that I've gone that I haven't left like with one new thing that I like to try or something else that I like to implement in my home. Like every island has been really amazing that I've visited so far, and there's so many of them. I'm really trying to make my way around each and every one of them. I just try to tackle one at a time. My goal is to get to each and every one of them. But really, what I love so much is the people. The people just make you feel so welcomed, and they really, because I guess tourism is so big there, that they really make you feel as if you're part of the family when you're there. So,
and it is a very popular destination for travelers to go to, especially here in the East Coast. A lot of my teachers have been to Aruba, Jamaica, Turks and Caicos. My bucket list is Jamaica, only because every time I see that commercial, come to Jamaica and feel all right. So and but by the way you talk about the Caribbean, I think every Caribbean island makes you feel all right, don't you?
Yes, they do. Yeah, you're there.
Now we're going to talk about our topic is to do or not to do, and we're going to start about packing. Well, we're going to discuss about packing, which is kind of like, in every trip, I think that's probably for me as a traveler, that's probably the least thing I'd like to do.
Okay.
And I'm curious on how to pack for a Caribbean vacation. I'm assuming it's like going to the Philippines. When I go to the Philippines, I normally pack flip-flops, 2-3 bathing suits, a poncho, because it rains sometimes. It rains a lot depending on what season. And I always bring sneakers because I like to do I'm always walking. I like hiking. And as for skincare, your cleanser, your moisturizer, and your sunscreen is a must. What must travelers pack on an ideal Caribbean vacation?
I'm probably the worst person to ask about this, not because I don't know what to pack, but I overpack. I'm one of those people, you just never know, like my mom always says, travel with a black dress. You don't know when you're going to a funeral. I don't know why I would be going to a funeral while I'm on vacation, but I just end up packing it. But if you're looking to pack for an ideal Caribbean vacation, I would say make sure that you have flip-flops, make sure that you have shorts, lightweight clothes. Always bring a sweater because you never know when the temperature is going to change up on you. make sure that you have sunscreen because it gets really hot. If you can get a nice hat, that's a plus. Sunglasses, and sometimes you can pack mosquito repellent, but that's really not, they don't really appreciate you doing that on an airplane. So don't say I said that. And then just a couple of evening things, like a couple of dresses. But everything lightweight is usually what you'll take into the Caribbean. Oh, like you said, bring your running shoes, and then bring one outfit that you don't mind getting dirty. If you're going to be in the Caribbean, you're going to be either going up some mountains, or you're going to be ATVing, you're going to be zip lining, and all these activities require some outfits that you don't mind getting dirty, or some shoes that you don't mind getting dirty. Those are really important to bring. Oh, and bathing suits, as many as you can bring. If you have 15, bring 12 out of the 15, because you'll be going in and out of the water on a daily.
Yeah, it's funny that you say you tend to overpack, because I tend to overpack. And my mom always says that I pack as if I'm running away from home, and it's only a 3-day trip and I'm packing like the whole entire house.
Yes, you never know.
And you never know, right? But what is it necessary to pack on a Caribbean vacation besides, let's say, snow boots?
What is not necessary would probably be like rain boots or something, or like it's not necessary really for you to have a raincoat either. And definitely you don't need a lot of heavy clothing. I usually travel with my heaviest clothes. So I'll travel with my running shoes, and I'll travel with a good pair of jeans. But then everything else in my suitcase is rather light. That's what I would say. Not to bring anything that's too heavy.
Now, my mom taught me how to pack, because my mom is an avid traveler. She's lived in America for almost 40 years, or no, I should say not 40 years. She's been a nurse for 40 years.
Oh, wow.
She's been here almost for 60 years. She's turning 79. So she's been,
awesome.
She's been here in America for almost half her life as a nurse. And she actually was the one that taught me and my sister to pack. And I swear, every time we go on a vacation, she's always like, in case of emergency, you have to pack this. You have to pack 1 shirt, pack 3 underwears, bring what is this, Tylenol, basic trace and ointment, and a pack of gum. And I'm just like, ay. But, she says this as an experienced traveler, because one time, my sister and I went to Italy, and our luggage got lost. And I had extra clothes, but she didn't. So she almost had to wear the same clothes every day until our luggage came 3 or 4 days later. I'm wondering, have you experienced any kind of a situation like this where, your plane was delayed, or you got stuck somewhere in the Caribbean where, you basically didn't have anything or any emergency kit?
It happened to me, but it was I was actually going to Canada, and the people told me, you can go ahead and check in your luggage. And it was a carry-on. I was like, okay, I don't want to walk with anything. And then when I got to the airport, it didn't come, and I had to wait until the next day for me to get it. So what that's done for me is I make sure that when I travel with my kids, they have a change of clothes in their backpack, so that if there's an accident or anything that happens, that at least we have 1 change of clothes, from pants all the way down to the underwear. I have been stuck, but the good thing is that it was here in the US, I got stuck. So I was coming back from Jamaica, and I was supposed to leave to go back to Orlando, and got stuck in Fort Lauderdale for probably over 4 or 5 hours, but it wasn't in the Caribbean. Thank goodness, knocking on wood, that doesn't happen.
It should never happen. And honestly, to all our viewers, please have some extra clothes and underwear on your carry-on, because you just never know what's going to happen. Now let's segue into your niche, the most exciting part. Now, I'm really excited for you, because you get to take all your experiences and knowledge of the Caribbean, mainly in Costa Rica, Jamaica, Aruba, and Antigua and Barbuda, where you have certifications and turn them into great travel itineraries for your clients. Share with us your travel experiences in these destinations.
So I can tell you from all of these destinations, I have yet to go to Costa Rica. However, I've been to all the other three. I went to Aruba a long time ago, maybe 12 years ago, and I really loved it. What I loved about it with Aruba is that it's outside of the hurricane belt. So if you want to travel during the summertime for a honeymoon or a family vacation, the ABC Islands, which are Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao, are out of the hurricane belt. So that's a great tip for people to know. As far as Antigua and Barbuda, absolutely gorgeous island. It has 365 beaches or 366 beaches, one for every day of the year. So if you are an avid beach goer, it's really a great place for you to go. They have lovely people there, and the food is really amazing. They have so many different events like Sailing Week in April. They have beautiful overlooking points, and the people are just amazing. And then, of course, Jamaica is probably my second heart. I've been there over 6 times in the last 2 years. I've traveled all around. So not only like in Montego Bay. Montego Bay is where a lot of the touristy things happen, but I've gone to Ocho Rios and the Grill. I've jumped off the bridge. I jumped off the cliff at Rick's Cafe. So that's a fun thing that you can do there. And Ocho Rios has the Dun River Falls, which is a kind of like a waterfall that you get to climb if you're really into that kind of stuff. So Jamaica is full of life. You really need to go since it's on your bucket list. You won't regret. And all of these destinations, I'm from Florida. I live in Florida. And so all of these destinations are less than 3 hours away. So it's really great for me. There's a lot of nonstop flights. But even if you're on the East Coast, it's still not so far. The weather has been beautiful in each place that I've gone. I can never complain that the weather was less than probably 80 degrees, I would say.
And that's an interesting fact about Aruba and Curacao that I didn't know, that they're not part of the hurricane. So that's a good tip for me to know, because I'm thinking every time for Caribbean, I'm always worried. I'm like, it's hurricane season, so don't go during August and October, but you can go to those places any time of the year. It's still beautiful, beautiful weather, and I can never get stuck, although I do want to experience a hurricane.
I don't know why.
I don't know why.
Florida, we have hurricane parties in Florida, because it's kind of like the hurricane that doesn't come, but you don't want to experience a hurricane. It's not all that fun. It's not fun at all, actually.
I actually do. I'm going to go during hurricane season, and then me and you, and maybe I'll invite Melissa. We could just hide, you could show me like how to shelter in when there's a hurricane.
Hilarious.
But let's talk about the one place you haven't gone to is Costa Rica. And I know in my first episode, that was one of the places where Ruby went to. And one of the most interesting things that she did in her trip is she went to a chocolate, she made chocolate. And there's so many. Costa Rica is a very popular destination that a lot of tourists want to go to, and it's on their bucket list. What made you interested in becoming a specialist in Costa Rica vacations?
Honestly, it's just because I wanted to travel there. So for me, I wanted to get to learn more about it so I can feel more confident, because there are so many different zones in Costa Rica. So you kind of have to know where you want to go and what you want to experience. So I was really drawn to that. Like you said, Costa Rica is a really great destination for a lot of people. A lot of people love monkeys. I actually had a client and she really wanted to go to Costa Rica because she wanted to see the monkeys. Okay, so then I read up on it, so we kind of found out where she needs to go. But that's really the only reason as to why she wanted to go to Costa Rica, was to see the monkeys. So I think that also it has a lot of, what do you call that? Rainforest.
Oh, rainforest.
So people are really drawn to that. Nature lovers want to go there. There's so much greenery and people really love that part. And they also have like a blue zone where a lot of people who are over 100 years old live. So it's so much history. There's like a Caribbean section in Costa Rica. So the variety that's there really drew me to finding out a little bit more information about it.
That's amazing how you did all these research. And it's cool that what you like is totally different from what Ruby likes. There's just a contrast, and it's amazing that you learn about a place that you've never been to, and there's just so much to do. Now let's talk about what are your favorite tours and activities to do in those destinations, and maybe just pick 3 that you like to do at each place.
Well, first thing, I love to do a historical tour. No matter where I go, I want to know what the locals have to say about it. And I also love to go by a local tour guide, not necessarily one who migrated back into it, but someone who really grew up there and kind of knows their history about it. So I love to do that. I love to go on a boat. I have to do a boat everywhere I go. Belize was probably the best place because they had a boat called YOLO, and they took us out and we went to the Ambergris Cay, which looks like National Geographic's underwater. You know, like you got to see everything. The coral reef down there is super amazing. So I have to get on a boat. And then I like to do like one adventurous activity, whether it's zip lining, ATVing, swimming with stingrays. That was the most adventurous thing I've done, or swimming with sharks. I've done that too. So just something really that kind of like is an adrenaline rush. And I've done all these with my kids, by the way. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And they weren't, I know, I saw the one where you were swimming with sharks on your
That one, they stayed on the boat, but it's because my son was sick. And the other one was a little bit too small. But the stingrays, feeding the stingrays, they did the zip lining, they've done ATVing. They keep me on my toes. So I like them. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't swim, and you'll never see me swim with stingrays, but I have eaten a stingray in Singapore, which is really good. Yes.
Interesting.
Yes, I've eaten a lot of interesting foods in my travels, and that will be a separate episode in the future.
Cool.
But let's talk about the lessons learned that you've learned as a traveler. And we know that travel is all about self-discovery. What have you learned about yourself as a traveler, mainly as you traveled through the Caribbean?
Okay, that's a really good question. I've learned that, I didn't really think about this. What have I learned? I've learned that I'm pretty malleable. I can pretty much get into any group and fit right in for the most part, even though I tell people that I'm not all that friendly, but when I get around people, it kind of works itself out. I figured I'm really resourceful too. Kind of sometimes when you have to think right off the top of your head, things come to mind. And I've also learned how to make great connections with people. I think that just comes as a speech pathologist. I have to kind of like be a people person and create connections. And so that is a really big and important piece to me about making connections in different countries. And I've been able to do that as a traveler too.
That's great to hear. And now, what's next for you? Where are you off to on your next travel journey?
Well, next week, I'm actually going to Mexico, and that's supposed to be a really fun trip. I'm really excited about that. The following trip is actually a DR. I'll be in Dominican Republic for 6 weeks with my kids. We're going to be doing a world schooling adventure, and there's a camp there that we'll be experiencing and meeting people from all around the world. And I hope to, on the weekends, be able to venture out and learn a lot more about the culture and immerse my children in it as well. So that is what I'm up to, at least the next 2 trips. And then we have a family trip coming up, but we've yet to decide where we're going. So that's about it.
Well, you have a place to travel pretty much every month, probably for the rest of the year, right, Jessica?
If I had it my way, that's the way it would be for real. But somebody's got to pay the bill. So
I'm always traveling in my head. So I travel every day in my head. I think tomorrow I'll be in like Malta or somewhere.
Oh, that's a nice place to be. Nice place to be.
Now we're closing into to our podcast. Is there anything else you would like to say to our viewers? Any more tips or fun facts?
I would just like to say that the Caribbean is such a beautiful place to come to. If you haven't, you really should think about coming. It's such a short flight away. and you really won't regret it. There's so many wonderful beaches, so many wonderful people, so many fun activities to do, so much great food to try. You really should think about it and put it on one of the things that you would like to do. I know that travel abroad is amazing, as in like in Europe and on the other side of the pond, but there's so many wonderful little islands here and so many wonderful people to know and cultures to know that you should really think about coming here.
You know what? I'm going to take in your advice, Jessica, and instead of like dreaming of Malta, I'll probably dream about Turks and Caicos.
Ooh,
Or
yes.
Antigua, Barbuda,
Yes.
or any Caribbean island that's not on the hurricane belt.
You should think about, just smell the aroma of the food, just come and just eat with us.
I want to eat. I want to hang out. I want to eat my jerks. I want to jerk around with chicken and oxtail with plantains and rice.
Yes, yes. You're getting me a little hungry. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, Jessica, it's been a pleasure having you on. Thank you so much with your tips and your stories. I look forward to having you again on this podcast, and we'll probably talk about weird foods that we've eaten in our travels.
Yeah, I like that. It was a pleasure to be on. Thank you so much, Tennie.
And thank you again to all our viewers and listeners. Much love to all of you, because without your support and views, this would not be possible. Tune in next week on another episode of Smart People Travel Wise, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 noon Pacific. I'm Tennie Sumague. See you next time here on Smart People Travel Wise. Take care.